Hello friends and my lovely students and my recruiters, directors, well-wishers. I'm extremely happy to inform you that one of my articles on revamping and streamlining the management education system in India. This article has been published by one of the global education provider to European countries like London, Italy, Spain, USA, and Middle East. He has published my article in Oxford, UK. That runs to about 14 pages. I can't give a link to that, so ultimately I thought, let me talk on my own article, which has just last week it has been published in Oxford. This article I feel will be really useful, particularly for management bodies, educationists, and of course to parents also, parents of the students. And I have written this article based on my experience, not taken from any research report or from Google articles. My experience as a corporate trainer for about 8 years in one of the leading banks known as India's International Bank, that's Bank of Baroda. I was in charge of training system for Maharashtra and Goa zone. And I used to teach banking. It is not teaching banking, it is all even middle managers, senior managers would attend my sessions and bring day-to-day problems, and whenever we introduce some new systems, products, and we invariably hold training sessions, including for senior managers. And we have our own college, we have our top college in Ahmedabad and almost all metros in India. So that is one experience, and later on I had very illustrious career in education field for last 20 years, having taught over 12 universities, including Indian, Australian, and also some of the London-based universities like University of Wales and London Metro. And I was also an internal quality assessor for London School of International Business for a couple of years. Mentioning all these things, though looks boastful, the purpose is this article I have written based on my experience of over 20 years for management institutions and 8 years as a corporate trainer. Well, for example, as far as India is concerned, now we have come out with what is national education policy. At a higher level, they have very lofty ideas. But then, generally, what I have observed as a professor is, we fail in executing the plans. Implementation is our problem. So what I have done in this article, I have addressed 20 top very critical and crucial areas in education, particularly management education. And I have tried to provide some practical solutions also which are implementable, particularly in view of this pandemic bane which has disrupted our on-campus education, and much more so we, particularly Indians, we do not have that experience of online teaching. Very recently, maybe out of pressure, we resorted to online teaching. Most of the institutes are inexperienced and they are ill-equipped. And to make this process more effective and to ensure the engagement of the students in the classroom is really a challenging job. So here are 20 points which I have covered in my article. I have not prepared any PowerPoint slides Uh, I'll simply go through my article because that runs to 14 pages. I told you it has been published just last week in Oxford, UK. Let's have a quick browse through of my article. Here it is. The heading is Qualitative Initiatives for Value-Based Education. Value-based education. What are the? I'm not telling some of our ITs, IMs, and even some of the private management institutions. They are really doing good, but there are majority of the institutions. I have written a couple of articles on education, and about 2 years ago, it was confirmed that hardly 10% of management students are employable. So also engineering students. There is an yawning gap when it comes to quality. So in this article, I have addressed what are the qualitative initiatives for value-based education. Written there, this article of Professor Rao has been published at Oxford in an education fortnightly of a global education provider based in Oxford. That is how they have introduced me in the article. Professor Rao has an illustrious career in the field of academics, banking and investment management with a string of qualifications to his name. He has 3 decades of banking and 2 decades of teaching experience across 12 Indian, UK and Australian based universities. He has been a dissertation guide for MBA programs for over 10 years. He is a former banker of Bank of Baroda. Many of his articles on higher education have been published in leading newspapers. This is how they have introduced me in their article. This looks like I have actually taken from the magazine, my own article. Learning, knowledge, experience, ability, skills, competence, growth, training. Some of the issues which I have addressed in this article. Very lengthy article running into 14 pages. You will not have that much patience to read. So I thought at least let me cover some, have a glimpse through and the gist of my article, covering only those 20 crucial and critical areas where there is a scope for improvement. So I have written this article examines the ground realities. I am the man in the field. Ground realities concerning the quality of education prevalent in some management institutes. It suggests practical ways to address critical issues concerning academic quality, quality assurance, quality enhancements, and qualitative initiatives leading towards value-based education. So I'm not going to read all the article. I'll simply focus on the points which I have highlighted in my article. The practical suggestions outlined here may also help the management institutions which are reeling under great stress. Why great stress? In compliance crisis. I have called it compliance crisis because every management institution wants to have, NAC or NAB or whatever, accreditation. Forget about international accreditation. We are talking about only national accreditation. And to fulfill the accreditation body's rigorous norms, now objective and outcome-based quality education. Now we are looking for objective and outcome-based education. So there are 2 parts of this article which has been published in the magazine. Anyway, I have all the 20 points here. The first and foremost point which I addressed here is student mentoring. Unfortunately, in our system, the ratio of student to teacher is very, very huge. I know this may not sound practicable, but then it's still possible. Once the students select the specialization stream, particularly like I'm talking about management education, a group of students, maybe 10, they must be adopted by each of the in-house faculty. They should be adopted, like we adopt children. Even by regular visiting faculty also. What for? For the overall development of the students and prepare them to acquire necessary skill sets for assured and better placement, so that you'll be focusing and you'll become the guide, the mentor for that particular group. That is point number one, which is unfortunately not happening here. Secondly, faculty performance evaluation system. I am not telling it's not being done, but management must design and structure scientifically based faculty performance evaluation system. Main aspects should be covered. Actually, I've gone through, I've taught many management institutes, even in Pune has been as 1 dozen, but a very half a page, evaluation system. So, in fact, I have a format which covers almost 25 parameters. It may be too much, but then at least some of the important parameters that you should cover is the knowledge basis of the teacher as perceived by the students. Look at this, as perceived by the students. Communication skills. Here I am not talking about command over the language. How closely you can connect to the students. How you can make him understand things, to generate interest, to ignite enthusiasm. Competence to prepare course material. They must have, competence to prepare course material with the real world issues, not what, taking from all the books, to provide broader perspective. And the faculty must have skills to handle questions. Better skills. I'm not telling they don't have skills. Design examinations, assignments, projects to test understanding the course and application. It is not mere understanding. So that what is popularly known as Bloom's techno. I think you have heard about Bloom's. There are not many, areas. Understanding, applying, analyzing, those keywords the professor should keep in mind. The commitment of a teacher is accessibility. It is not 10 to 5. Using the latest technology to solve queries, like I'm talking about, I'm a finance specialist, financial modeling, developing financial modeling, solve queries and engage students in further discussions are also crucial. So detailed descriptive feedback about the faculty also needs to be obtained from each student. So you have to take from each student. That is as far as the faculty evaluation is concerned. Then come student performance evaluation. What you are doing, all this, formative assessment and examination, summative assessment, just become a ritual. I don't know whether I can use that word because I've been an examiner for a couple of universities, particularly in the last 2 years because of this pandemic impact. The exams are conducted online. Less said the better. What students have done. Verbatim, they have cut, copy, pasted. They don't know, they don't have any idea about plagiarism. I was first member and also chairperson for some of the plagiarism tribunal committees for some of the British universities. They don't allow more than 10% plagiarism. I have cases where I have penalized the student even where the percentage, similarity percentage we call it, is less than 10 because he was dishonest in his submissions to the tribunal. Students have become overtly complacent, maybe because of our faulty system of overgrading them, purely based on bookish knowledge. They prefer simple, straightforward, essay type questions in the evaluation process. Give them some latest live cases, they will not be able to. I'm not talking all. I've already talked about some exceptions, possible exceptions. Evaluation tools must focus on examining the crucial, analytical, and application skills of the students. Lesson plans and sessions should be linked to the objectives and outcomes. Fortunately, I have come across some of the universities are adopting this. Top ranking institutions in the world follow the rigorous system of two-tier evaluation system. Through second grading by an internal faculty member, followed by scrutiny by an external domain expert. I have been on second evaluation examiner for some of the foreign universities. It is sent to domain expert. Every word the student writes, examined. So let's set the better about our examination system till today, even today. I've already talked about a two-way back system. To make the feedback a realistic one, at the end of each session, look at this. You may say it is a Herculean task. The faculty must measure the learning levels. Why? How? Verbal feedback, asking the students probing questions. Last 10 minutes. What is the most useful learning point from this session? What students did not understand? What they found most difficult? What hinders their learning? What efforts they must put in to make learning more enjoyable and effective? Can you make learning a fun? Can you make a learning fun? It's possible. A scientific, elaborate, extensive written feedback system is followed all over the world. The faculty reads every page, be it an assignment or semester and project or a dissertation report. Every page written provides positive and negative feedback. I have done this for a couple of universities with suggestion to improve, and follows it up with, I call it action taken report. Whatever suggestions I given, has he really implemented it, particularly for the dissertation report, research report, thesis. Dissertation reports of our students usually do not conform to the basic norms of global standards. Most of the reports, as you have seen, contain one page, two basic, generic recommendation. They say improve the training system, improve the customer relationship. Even my finance students, they don't know how to do cost benefit analysis. Students follow cut copy paste culture without in-depth critical analysis. So we need to set up plagiarism tribunals to summarily punish the students. The intention is to bring in improvements so that they do not resort to cut copy paste culture. And even for as low as 10% of similarity content, and for not following the R-word referencing system, even in their project report they don't follow HRS system. They must cite extensively insight citations, in-text citations, and I prescribe wherever I have gone to minimum 14 books. Yeah, I read some top books, 7 journals, then okay, no problem, internet sources. This is about feedback system, feedback for their, not only in the class, for their reports, for their, even for the examination also. We do not have that system of giving any feedback in the examination. Okay. Point number 5, grooming for placements. It's been done in some of the universities I have observed. Grooming sessions to prepare them for placements. But then it has to be done company-specific grooming session. Let's say you have a faculty, I'm not undermining their capability, you have a faculty who, unfortunately, who does not have, let us say, exposure to a bank. And let's say HSBC or Citibank or Barclays or SDFC visits our campus. Now we are going to groom them. If you yourself do not have practical exposure, involve some experts. So grooming is taking place, but generally, one thing fits for all. One or two faculty, they try to talk on all topics. No. In fact, recently I conducted some mock interviews, and these students, they were about to appear for interview. They will simply go through website and note down some points, and they try to talk on that in the interview. Every student does it. So out of them, if at all I am one of the panel members, whom should I select? Only those who have really knows about the challenges, their products, their services, and their annual reports, audit report, and risk compliance report, regulatory compliance report. Certainly I will select such a student. So grooming has been done, but not to the extent that is required. They should be motivated, encouraged to take up some online certificates or diploma examinations. Now we see, I was making a statement, a very startling statement on the other day, maybe in the next 10 years, 50% of the employees may lose their job. I'm sorry to say this, because of robotics, advanced technology, particularly in finance and even in manufacturing for that matter. So what is essential, I've written a couple of articles why even MBAs, even professionally qualified CAs, ICWS must acquire this type of qualification like a business analytics, equity analyst, now blockchain, machine learning, robotics. No, these are the emerging technologies. So grooming does not mean you just tell them, all that academics or just, revision of concepts. They are not going to ask definitions, theories. You are not going to write an essay when you join a corporate. Okay. So grooming for placements. Student engagement in the class. It is the most challenging job. The traditional chalk talk method, overuse of PowerPoints. Now I see faculty simply come with PowerPoints. They bore the students. And so therefore the students become either mute spectators or passive listeners. Passive listeners. Learning doesn't take place. So I mentioned here, and I am not going to read all those things, some example of best practices which I have practiced, which I have seen the expert practice to ensure students' engagement. Is too lengthy. I am not going to read that. I am going to share this article with you. Like for example, using multimedia videos and related topics, scenario analysis, contemporary ongoing corporate issues, asking the student to conduct virtual tests, financial stress test, analyzing risk profiles of financial institution, latest research reports, particularly internationally renowned leading agencies like Ernst & Young, PwC, Deloitte, JP Morgan, even HSBC. But this says that's what I do. I read their research reports to keep myself updated. The student has to do it. So I've given a lot many ideas here: role play, group discussion, case analysis, then visiting financial centers, virtual investment games. Now I teach investment. We have to conduct virtual investment games. They don't know how to. They may know everything about standard deviation and all value at risk, VR, whatever. But when it comes to application, they find it really difficult. So you should conduct virtual games and viewing videos of popular professors. I view the videos from MIT, Harvard, Stanford, Columbia. I learn from my professor colleagues. Okay. So I've written the bane of the COVID-19, which has disrupted the on-campus teaching environment, further necessitates that the Indian management institutions, which are comparatively inexperienced and ill-equipped, which I have already mentioned, to conduct online teachings, must explore creative and innovative ways to actively engage students in the learning process. I will stop this video at point 10. I would like to make this video 2 parts so that even a video also should not become boring. There are 20 points. Effective utilization of faculty resources. I have come across in some of the management institution, the junior professors, they are mostly engaged in administrative work. Instead of using junior faculty for routine administrative work, they could be engaged in productive activities to improve their career prospects through blended and collaborative teaching. They can join a senior professor like me, teaching on learning process, evaluate answer papers based on the model answer papers. Now I prepare question papers for many universities. I also give them indicative answers, model answers. So let them read, the junior professors. They need to participate in live sessions to gain in-depth exposure to various tools of teaching pedagogy, okay? How to utilize faculty resources, because some of the faculties are utilized for, I don't say it is not a productive work, but then it is not related to teaching work. their careers is wasted actually. Then most of the foreign universities, they have what is known as weekly discussion forum. Um, most of our Indian universities, we do not have that. It should be made compulsory for students to participate in a weekly discussion forum where contemporary issues are debated. Let's say, for example, banking industry, they are replete with trillions, I'm not talking billion, trillions of rupees in non-performing loans. What went wrong? What could have been done? What could have been avoided? Take latest cases in the weekly discussion forum. Debated. Every group is expected to interact and post their views, be it right or wrong. They enjoy posting creative and innovative rejoinders. That's what I have done. I've seen with my students, particularly of British universities. So they think out of the box. Thus, learning becomes fun and facilitate achieving the desired outcome. Of course, you can give due weightage for these discussions also. What we are doing in our examination system, all the questions 20 marks, for 20 into 5. So even if you have just written, pages together without understanding either the head or the tail, we feel, we out of maybe pity, oh, this fellow has written 15 pages, let me give at least, okay, passing marks. That's how you pass. And this man become manager later on. Okay. Another thing is interaction with alumni. Some of the universities are doing. It makes sense to invite on a periodical basis. Normally, you invite them only once a year or so for some, important functions. No, I am talking about on periodical basis. The seniors who have been successful and also failures. Call some of the failures also. What made you? And then how you face the challenges as employees, entrepreneurs, startups, to share their trials, challenges, faced and how they cope with them, and the additional skill sets they have to acquire. They will tell you what is essential. Such regular interactions with alumni provide better insights into the corporate ground, the bitter realities and expectations. It also makes sense to seek feedback from the corporate sector. Now you send your students to on, let's say, internship. Do you really get that feedback? But I know one of the educational doyen in Pune, he will invariably interact with them. How is my student? How is you doing? But how many of us do this? So you must seek feedback, not only during internship, even when they are employed, let's say first 5-6 months, you should know how they are doing. Their performance during the first year of the employment particularly, okay? So now I will stop here at point number 10. Another 10 point I will take in my next video. Please go through all the 20 points. All 20 points are really very crucial, very critical areas I have tried to address. The 10th point here is textbooks. There are so many renowned Indian authors. In fact, I am the approved book reviewer for Pearson International, Tata McGraw-Hill, Oxford, etc. I do find some of the Indian authors are really good, but having said that, it is vital to adopt globally established popular books written by real practitioners, that contain challenging questions and answers to very complex problems with current live data. Say I'm talking about financial ratio analysis. Take the latest Microsoft, or maybe in India Bajaj, or Reliance, Infosys, or IBM, or Barclays, that help students fine-tune their analytical and application skills. Okay, and these books, particularly when I'm talking about books adopted by Ivy League top 100 management institutions, they provide better insights to millennium students who are keen to get placements in MNCs, Fortune 500 companies, and international brokerage houses, accounting firms, investment banking. If you really want to get that type of placements, you should read the books, which are published by internationally popular practitioners. I repeat, these authors, they are they are experts in their chosen fields, and the books are based not on just compiling from various sources, based on in-depth research, field surveys, actual interviews they conduct of highly successful industry top executives, CEOs, COOs, CFOs, CROs, Chief Risk Officer, the latest one, and understand the contemporary procedures and best practices adopted by them. Well, friends, it will be too much. Then you may you may go to sleep. You may not see my video. 10 points I have covered. Another 10 points I will be covering in my part 2. Please go through. Particularly, my appeal to you is management institutions. Okay, I'll stop here. See you again. Thank you. Bye.